So I'm Johnny Gray.
And I'm Tim Jacklin.
We're both conservation officers for the Wild Trout Trust, and we're going to kayak from Skipton to Leeds along the River Aire. So we are dressed like this to highlight a particular issue on the River Aire for World Fish Migration Day. It's all associated with a specific project called Developing the Natural Aire, and their tagline is to get salmon to Skipton. Most people around the world are aware of these very large-scale migration processes, especially in the oceans, on the Great Plains of Africa, for example. Salmon is a particularly sexy example everybody seems to know about, but it's a sort of very unidirectional movement, a migration from or getting salmon to Skipton. We want to highlight other issues associated with fish wanting to move in rivers.
Yes, so salmon is the species that most people have heard of, and they think of them running up from the ocean up to the streams where they were born to breed again. But all sorts of fish species move during their lifetime to complete their life cycles. Even so-called resident trout will move tens of kilometres upstream to find grounds to spawn, to find shelter in winter, and to find feeding grounds. So it's important to have the river as passable and as open to fish movement as possible. And of course, those salmon that are born in Skipton have got to get back down to the sea. Everybody thinks about upstream migration, but going back down is equally important. And there are several obstacles on the river that can impede that and create bottlenecks where fish accumulate and become more vulnerable to getting eaten by all sorts of creatures. So the more natural you can make the river, the better. So what we're going to be doing is putting ourselves in the shoes or in the fins of those fish to try and experience some of the challenges that they face. And by kayaking along the river, we're going to encounter some of these obstacles and highlight the problems that they pose for the fish.
There are 4 main weirs that are being tackled under the DNAire, the Developing the Natural Aire project, which is essentially a partnership between the Aire Rivers Trust and the Environment Agency. It's heritage lottery funded, so there's quite a lot of backing towards this. There's a social element as well. There's engagement with the communities along the river, trying to spread this message about the fact that fish do need to move. And while we're doing this challenge, we'll also be taking advantage through our conservation officer roles. We're trying to get as much information about the river as possible, which may help with future funding applications to improve the river between those weirs, improve the habitat that might have been degraded over time.
We're going to be doing the hard part. We're taking on the challenge of kayaking over 35 miles along the River Aire.
And now it's over to you for the easy bit. You can follow our progress wherever you're watching this. Click on the link for more information, follow the project. We really appreciate that. I'm sure the fish will too.